and this is my review for Transformers Dark of the Moon Deluxe Class Roadbuster. Roadbuster, as you can see, is a NASCAR race car. I know absolutely nothing about NASCAR, so I don't know what type of car it is. I do know for a fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr. drives it because it has his signature up here. But other than that, I know absolutely nothing about this car, so don't bother me asking questions about the car because I will not be able to answer them because I know absolutely nothing about NASCAR. But anyway, as you can see, a fairly cool-looking little race car. I know a lot of people complain that it isn't weaponized like Dark of the Moon Top Spin is, but personally, I don't really mind it that much. I mean, I would have liked a weaponized version of Roadbuster, and they did give us one in the Human Alliance form, but I know a lot of people were wishing for a deluxe-sized weaponized Roadbuster. But honestly, I don't mind it that much. It's a pretty cool-looking car. As you can see, it does have the Amp Energy logo up here. It does have a National Guard and a smaller Amp Energy right here, as well as the number 88. It also does have a very tiny Sprint Cup logo right here, which isn't showing up too well on camera just because it's so tiny. But it is pretty neat that they did include that. I will say the paint overall is a little bit sloppy, particularly on this white. It definitely feels like it was very cheaply painted on. Very, very poor paint apps as far as the white goes. It doesn't look as bad in robot mode, but in vehicle mode it is pretty noticeable just how sloppy this white paint is. Which is a bit of a shame, but oh well, I keep them in robot mode most of the time anyway, so it doesn't bother me too much. Anyway, he does come with his mech tech weapon, which is pretty neat. It's not one of my favorite mech tech weapons, but it is a pretty nice little mech tech weapon. As you can see, it's a gun. Really nothing too terribly spectacular about it, but it is a fairly nice looking little gun. When you pull back on this gray piece right here, it extends into this chainsaw, which he apparently does have in the movie because the Human Alliance version comes with a chainsaw that isn't a mech tech weapon, but it is still a chainsaw. So that is kind of neat. I really do like that little gimmick. I wish that they had found a way maybe to make it a little bit less hollow, but oh well. I do understand how that may have been out of the budget and may have just not have been possible just due to the toy. But anyway, very, very cool looking little mech tech weapon. It definitely is one of the better mech tech weapons. Like I said, not my favorite mech tech weapon, but still kind of neat. He does also have a mech tech port up on top of the roof of the car. And what's kind of neat is, and they didn't have to do this, but they did this on a lot of the Dark of the Moon figures, as you can see, there's a little panel right here, and what you do is you can take the mech tech weapon and you can plug it in onto that panel, but when you take it off, it's on a spring, so it actually automatically pops up once the mech tech weapon is removed. So I think that's kind of neat. It does actually disguise fairly well on this vehicle mode. It is pretty neat. I'm really glad that they added that because otherwise you would have just had a big hole in the roof, which would have looked really terrible. But anyway, not much to say about the vehicle in terms of features. It does roll fairly well. It doesn't have tire treads, which is actually accurate to the car, which I think is kind of neat. But other than that, there's no features. Except you can, if you want, take this. And I don't think you're actually supposed to do this in vehicle mode, but you can if you want to. You can, if you want, take these pieces. And you can if you... it does like to pop off. You can if you want. There we go. You can, if you want, flip out his rocket launchers, which you'll be using in robot mode. You can place them in vehicle mode, and you can do pretty much whatever you want with them. You can have them stick down to the side like so. You can bring them up and around like so. You can do pretty much whatever you want with them. So I guess, in a way, he does kind of have a weaponized car mode. Obviously not anything compared to what it looks like in the movie, but still, I guess it's kind of neat. But anyway, to transform him, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and bring out the rocket launchers, and you want to flip this up like so. Then what you want to do is you want to take these gray pieces back here, you want to bring them down. These will form his legs in robot mode. Then what you want to do is you want to flip these green panels up. There we go. Flip out these pieces like so. Then what you want to do is you want to take this front bumper piece. You want to kind of lift it over these headlights. It can be a little bit tricky to do. That time it actually did it fairly easily, but it can be a little bit tricky to do. Anyway, then you want to fold this piece in, then fold this piece up. Then what you want to do is you want to take this gray piece, you want to rotate it around like so. so his head is facing forward like so. Then you want to go ahead and fold in these little chest panels right here. Then what you want to do, this can be a little bit confusing at first. There's a double hinge system here. There's one in the front of his chest and one toward the back of his neck. What you want to do is you want to bend the one, in his neck. Then you want to bend the one up near the back of his, you want to bend the one in his chest, and then you want to bend the one near his neck. And then you want to go ahead and tab this piece in, and then you want to work with it so that there's these little pieces right here that tab in behind his butt. And then you want to tab that in, and that'll lock everything in place. Anyway, then you want to split his legs, rotate them around, flip up the feet. He doesn't have very big heel spurs, which is a bit of a problem. It does cause him to be a little bit less stable than I think he could have been, but oh well, what are you going to do? Anyway, then you want to go ahead and raise these shoulders up so that they're more proportionate to his body. Then you want to go ahead and bend these panels forward. These will form his arms. Sadly, these panels don't have any way of flipping forward and folding up anymore, which I think is a bit of a shame, but oh well, what are you going to do? And then you want to angle the missile launchers however you want. You can, if you want, just fold them straight back like so, so that he has kind of almost a boombox looking look to him, except that he has a bunch of missile racks instead of a boombox next to him. What I usually do is I usually flip them out like so, just to give them a little bit more of an angle and a little bit more of a visual flair to them. And there you have Roadbuster in robot mode. And pretty neat looking. I really do like the look of the records overall. We'll go ahead and look at his head sculpt, because his head sculpt has been the subject of much controversy. As you can see, it is clearly supposed to be a stereotypical NASCAR redneck fan, what with the baseball cap, and then the wire mullet back here, and then the eyes that are obviously meant to be sunglasses. Personally, I don't mind it that much because I don't really care that much for NASCAR, but I realize how that might offend some people, but I personally think it's funny, and I know that's wrong to think it's funny, but what the heck, I really do think it's funny. I think it's an interesting idea. They do apparently don't have redneck accents in Dark of the Moon, so I guess there is that to be thankful for, but I realize how it could offend some people, but I don't really mind it that much. Anyway, for posability, his head is on a ball joint. It's a little bit limited by the wire mullet in the back, but you can still get some fairly emotive poses out of him. You can pose the missile launchers however you want, as I mentioned. He does have ball jointed shoulders and then the hinge just due to transformation, so you can angle him however you want. He does rotate at the upper bicep, which is nice. He does bend at the elbow. Sadly, no rotational joint at the elbow, which is a bit of a shame, but oh well, what are you going to do? And they did give us a bicep swivel, so it's not too terribly bad. No waist swivel just due to transformation. I would have liked a waist swivel, but oh well, what are you going to do? He does have ball jointed hips, bends at the knee, rotates at the upper thigh, and his feet go up and down just due to transformation. So, he's definitely not the most articulate of the wreckers, but still, you can get him in some pretty interesting poses, which is nice. You can also, if you want, take his mech tech weapon. You can't fit it in his hands, which is a bit of a shame. Well, actually, you can take it and put it in his hands. I didn't know you could actually do that, but he doesn't hold it very well, which is a bit of a shame. What you're meant to do is you're meant to take the mech tech weapon and you're meant to plug it on the sides of these panels. And these don't have a spring-loaded system. What you do is, once you take out the mech tech weapon, there's this little green bar that'll be right here, and you push that forward, and that'll flip up the port, which I guess is kind of neat. I think it would have been really hard to do a spring panel right there, so I am glad that they added it, but still, I think it would have been nice maybe if they had just found a way to work it in so that he could hold it with his hand rather than hold it on the side. But anyway, still fairly cool looking, and of course you can activate the mech tech gimmick, so he looks pretty neat with it. I really do like the way his mech tech weapon looks on him. Anyway, for a real quick size comparison, the only one I have really is just the standard size comparison next to Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee. So you can see he's a little bit shorter than Bumblebee. Like I said in my Dark of the Moon crankcase and sideswipe reviews, the Dark of the Moon figures have been downsized a bit. But oh well, still pretty nice scale. I mean, like I said, I don't have anything to compare him with right now. Once I review the other records, I'll definitely compare him with Top Spin and Deluxe Roadbuster. But anyway, so overall, you know, a pretty cool looking little figure. Definitely, like I said, again, with the Dark of the Moon line, most of its preference. I personally always wanted this guy just because I thought the Wreckers had such awesome looking robot modes, but I understand how it might not be for some people. Again, a lot of people complain about the head sculpt. I personally don't mind it. I think this is a pretty neat little figure, so I do recommend it, but like I've been saying in most of my Dark of the Moon reviews, it's mostly just up to personal preference, so there you go. But anyway, there you go. My look at Transformers Dark of the Moon Deluxe Class Roadbuster. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.